Good afternoon or good whatever time you happen to be watching this. My name's Al Johnson. I was asked to come in and speak to you about what's in my pack. Jans Carlson and I spent a couple weeks in Montana last summer, and over the winter he goes, "Oh, you gotta get in touch with Seth, and you gotta go tell him what's in your pack." I go, "Why?" "Well, you got it kind of dialed in." So I hope this is going to be helpful to you. This is not anything that I've come up with, that I've read. This was being out on fire lines. This was being out on engines. This was being out as a line medic or what have you, or a helicopter crew member, being on fires and realizing that I wish I had something. The most important thing you can have on your fire pack is a fire shelter and water. After fire shelter and water, it really is a preference after that. And all of this stuff I have found, I have gotten on special or gotten a deal on it, or I never paid full price. So don't go break the bank and get a super oorah pack. The hot shots walk around wearing their packs, and they walk around wearing their packs all the time. But you don't need to spend $300 and do all that, because it's not. I don't think it's necessary. So I'm going to go through what's in my pack. I'm going to start out with what's close to me at hand. I keep gloves and notebook. The pen and the paper is the firefighter friend. I keep a pen and a Sharpie. Also, there is absolutely no harm in the world with taking the covers off of old IRPGs, because you've got a briefing checklist, you've got your 10 and 18, and you've got a size-up report, all on plastic. And you can even make little check marks on this. And don't be that guy that gives a briefing from his hip. Pull the checklist and go by each point. Don't try and be the guy that wings a briefing. You have a checklist. Pilots use checklists for everything, and they land and take off planes successfully routinely based on a checklist. If you use a checklist, you're going to be more successful. No one looks down on somebody that uses their checklists appropriately. So that's what's on my shoulder straps. I keep a canteen on my left hip with a flagging pouch on it that seems to work pretty good. And I just keep one roll of flagging. If you're needing something special, there's supply for that. If you need something a certain color, there's supply for that. Or you've got some on your engine, you can just swap out with what you need. I carry 3 quarts of water at a minimum, most of the time more. I also carry a couple fusees. Now you'll see the guys that carry, "There's room in this pack for 18 fusees," and then they're carrying 18 fusees. Fusees are meant for a quick little back burn to make yourself safe. I carry 2. I also carry panels for starting and stopping helicopter drops and signaling to helicopters your location or other aircraft, or signaling in drops. The firefighter wearing the yellow shirt isn't quite good enough as a description for aircraft, so the firefighter holding the orange panel is way better. And then that rides down in there. Inside my pack, I actually keep my fire shirt and a Nomex t-shirt in my pack as a spacer for my lunch. This is how I make sure I have enough room for my lunch in my pack when I'm packing my pack. So a fire shirt, and I've actually gone to a Nomex t-shirt because it wicks the sweat away better, and you don't end up with a salty ringed t-shirt and you smell really bad. So I've actually gone to a Nomex t-shirt that wicks the sweat away better. A first aid kit to include a tourniquet and a combat dressing there. There are times in wildland firefighting when nature will call, and having toilet paper is very important. But sometimes eating meals that are prepared for firefighters by people that don't understand firefighting, there are times when blue shop towels are a little bit more important, and it's way thicker than normal toilet paper. And I also carry baby wipes with that. And this is actually my spare toilet paper for holding over somebody's head. If they have forgotten some, I will say, how much is this worth to you? The next thing is trail mix and a couple gorp or Cliff Bars. You're going to need something because inevitably you're going to get stuck out there and food is going to be a ways away. So I end up with that food pack, and I've actually taken an MRE and food savored it down with a normal food saver, and I've pulled out all the extra stuff out of an MRE. MREs are heavy, I don't know how many ounces I've shaved by doing this, but I pulled all the extra stuff out and then have gone with this, and it fits better in my pack. And I have if I know I'm going to be out, I'll drop 2 of those in. If I'm on a project, I'll take that out. If I'm going to be doing some prescribed burning for the day or something like that, I take that completely out. The next thing I carry in my pack is a space blanket. Now this space blanket is the ones available up at Shields or Cabela's. But this one got a little too close to some embers, and so I cut off the charred and burnt stuff. I was sitting on a log that was probably still on fire, and it was cold, so I was sitting there. And so this one got a little smaller, but it's still big enough to cover me. And then I keep a Leatherman tool, and I didn't get the super ooh-rah Leatherman tool. This was on sale back when they made this style. It's just a simple little Leatherman tool. There's nothing special about it other than it's got a little side clip that holds it from being in the bottom of the pocket. I keep a helmet shroud for when you're getting close to prescribed burns or something along those lines, and you know you're going to be in the heat. It's a whole lot easier to have this than wish you had it. Most safety officers will say, "Where's your helmet shroud?" And you should probably have one readily available for when that person comes along. I keep zip ties along with some electrical tape. Zip ties and electrical tape are used a lot in aviation. The electrical tape for wrapping bucket plugs, and you zip tie all of your clevis pins on cargo nets and swivels, or cargo nets and that sort of thing. So I keep a few zip ties and some electrical tape. Chewing gum, a little lemonade, and an old spoon, just because. I've wished I had a spoon a couple times, and I've always carried that one since. Toothbrush and toothpaste cannot be overrated. It's amazing how good you will feel if you just take a moment and brush your teeth. It's also one of those tactical pause things you can do. When things are going poorly and you're just like, you know what, I need to stop and think for a minute. Sit and brush your teeth, and you'll come back from that and you'll have all sorts of the answers that you need. I also keep a card for cloning, the how-to instructions on how to clone a Bendix King. Little laminated card, super light, very easy, and just a good reference. And then a signal mirror. Signal mirrors have proven themselves handy in the past. I keep this one, it's one of the laminated glass ones, so I do have it padded pretty well so that I don't have 7 years bad luck, but that lives in there. And I don't keep this close because if you're needing it, you've got time to dig for it generally. Over here, I have a pair of flight gloves. Keep a pair of dry gloves. Wet hands, if you're doing a bunch of hose work, a bunch of hose lays, you're messing with dirty hose all the time, your leather gloves are going to get soaked. And if you're sitting there just watching something burn for the night, it's nice to have some flight gloves to change into to keep your hands dry, keep them warm. Otherwise, it's just one more thing that's miserable. And with being out at night, I keep a couple chem lights. Actually, I just keep one little chem light. But I also keep a Nomex beanie. Now, I've gotten all this stuff on sale. Dragonware True North has the outlet site, and if you skip that a couple times, I got this for $9. They're normally like $40. I got it for $9. I certainly am not going to spend a lot of money on something that may or may not come back with me. If I lose it, I'm not too heartbroken. I also keep a long sleeve Nomex t-shirt, again synthetic Nomex. I know they say wool or cotton, but at least this is fire resistant as well. And then I keep a pair of liner socks, just to put on underneath my normal hiking sock, my normal wool socks that I wear every time. You put these on underneath and you've basically put on a fresh pair of dry, wonderful wool socks. And these are super light, they fit in your pack super easy, and if you take a few moments to take care of your feet are what's going to get you from point A to point B. Take a few moments, take off your boots, get your socks off, put these on, put your old socks back on, get back into your boots, and you'll have dang near a spring in your step. I also keep a neck gaiter. One of the things that I have found, especially working near aviation, is you're at an airport. Airports are anti-tree, anti-shade, and you're out in the sun non-stop the entire day. Having something to put over the back of your neck. Here again, this was on clearance from a website. I think it was $9 again, and you can wet it to keep your neck cool, and it keeps the sun off your neck. A neck sunburn can be miserable when you go to bed down at night. Over here, I keep a headlamp. I purposely looked for a headlamp that uses AA batteries. Every fire camp is riddled with AA batteries. You can't go wrong with a headlamp that takes AA batteries. So get yourself a headlamp that takes AA batteries. I don't care what size, style, LED or what have you. That's not the important part. The important part is that it takes AA batteries, so that you can readily resupply. A spare clamshell for a king. A kestrel. Kestrel for wind and humidity. A lot of times you're going to get trigger points and they're set based on humidity, and it's a whole lot easier to pull one of these as long as it's calibrated. Don't trust a kestrel that has been sitting in the glove box of some apparatus for umpteen years and never seen a calibration kit. Take the time, if you've got kestrels, to calibrate them. Make sure, or compare them to a sling psychrometer so that you know that, okay, my kestrel is 2% short or 2% long or what have you, and know that before you head out. A flashlight with AA, again AA batteries for the flashlight, and a GPS. I generally carry a GPS in here. I think my GPS is at home. I forgot to add it already. Bandanas. Bandanas are just good all around glad to have them kind of equipment. On my right hip, I keep a radio pouch with, this one's set for a king, but whatever radio you folks are using, a pouch or something to keep that radio in can be helpful. And I don't put a lot of stuff on my hip belt, just for ease of movement and things of that nature. I will put the pouch up on my shoulder so that I know where that is. Other thing I carry is a microphone, a portable microphone, especially if you're going to be around pumps. Pumps or aircraft, something loud, and you're wearing hearing protection anyway, the chances of you hearing your radio are next to nil without having a microphone up close. At least you have a shot at listening to it through your ear. I also choose to, I don't know if this is me being finicky, but I actually get deer skin gloves instead of the standard issue white government leather ones. And I actually use hand lotion on the gloves to loosen them up, and then I'll put some Ubenoffs or something on them to waterproof them a little bit. But you get a nice soft leather glove that way, and I know it sounds dorky, but it actually does work, and you can end up with a good quality glove with not a lot of money that way. That's what I carry in my pack. I don't, here again, I don't remember what this thing weighs fully loaded, and of course shelter on the bottom. I don't remember what it weighs fully loaded, but this is what I carry. I prefer to be comfortable. I prefer to keep my feet warm and dry, keep my hands warm and dry, be able to cover my head, and be able to stay dry and still be comfortable. So that's what I carry. I hope this helps. Don't think that you have to have all of this stuff to get going. This is acquired over time. This is a skill that you work yourself into. And it used to be the bigger the pack, the better. Now it's pack what you need and still have room to put in a couple items that you might need to. That's why I use I pack my shirt in here so that I keep room for my lunch. And it's those little things like that. All of a sudden you have this full pack and you've got no place to put your lunch. Just because you have room in your pack for it doesn't mean you necessarily need to bring it. You can, sometimes less is more, especially when you have to carry it with you the entire time. And carrying 3 quarts of water, I drink a lot of water. I sweat a lot when I'm on a fire, so I know that going in. So carrying extra water, I think, is just good business sense, because then I'm not in need of water before anybody else is. If this has been helpful, great. If it hasn't, you can dismiss whatever information I shared with you as go, that guy's nuts, don't worry about it. But there are a bunch of videos that do this on YouTube. There are videos that do this on other sites. And this is going to be a work in progress for you. This is still a work in progress for me. And there's times when I add and subtract just a little bit of items, mostly just food. If I'm going to be close to the truck and I know I'm going to be sitting at a truck most of the time, I don't even put my lunch in here. I don't even put an MRE in here because I know I've got a bag of Gorp if I really get hungry out there, and I'll get back to the truck for my lunch. So there's times when this kind of ebbs and flows for weight, and there's times when I wish I had more space on here. So here again, hopefully these ideas helped. If not, the old guy's crazy. Or, hey, that was relatively smart. Or, boy, he's carrying an awful lot of stuff. I hope he really likes that. So, hope this helps, and enjoy your day.